Hi readers, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Thoughts on Books, Stephen King and Nora Roberts edition. These two authors are auto-buys for me. I've been reading them all my life. They are different, yet sometimes similar. But I don't care. I'm going to buy whatever they publish. And last week, both of them published books. Stephen King came out with You Like It Darker stories. And I've read one story in this so far. I am on another one right now, but story collections are really hard for me. The story I read so far was Rattlesnakes, which was a sequel to Cujo. And prior to this book coming in, I read Cujo because it had been a long time since I read it the first time, and I had forgotten everything about it except the dog and that there was a car involved. 5 stars for this. This was a fabulous book, in my opinion. It was bleak. It ends bleakly, but I loved that. I had forgotten how dark Stephen King could be. Holly just was not dark enough, and Fairy Tale wasn't dark enough for me, but this, old school Stephen King, fantastic. And I swear, I could tear up here in a minute. I was at work when I was finishing this book, and if I had not been, I would have just burst out bawling, because after all that bleakness, everything, King goes and sticks the knife in and twists it with this. It would perhaps not be amiss to point out that he had always tried to be a good dog. He had tried to do all the things his man and his woman, and most of all his boy, had asked or expected of him. He would have died for them if that had been required. He had never wanted to kill anybody. He had been struck by something, possibly destiny, or fate, or only a degenerative nerve disease called rabies. Free will was not a factor. That broke my heart! That broke my heart! It was so beautiful, so sad, because you get the perspective from the dog, from before he gets sick, and then while he's sick, and then that at the end. It was just so heartwarming. Now, and heart-wrenching. Now, I am so glad I did read that, because I would have not caught a lot of the references that Rattlesnake had, and it would not have been as effective, because it tells the story of Vic Trenton, who is the father of the woman and of Donna and Tad Trenton, who get caught in the car by Cujo, and it tells the story after, in flashbacks, I guess is what you'd call them. And I just would have missed so much in Rattlesnake. So I'm really glad that I read it, reread Cujo, even though it broke my heart. I will probably not do a review on any of these stories in here. Again, I'm really trying to get back into story collections, but it's still hard for me. Now, Nora Roberts published Mind Games, and 5 stars for me. She can be hit or miss sometimes, but this for me was a hit. So let me tell you what it's about from the dust jacket. As they do each June, the Foxes have driven the winding roads of Appalachia to drop off their children. These 2 weeks at their grandmother Lucy's house are the highlight of the year. Here, 12-year-old Thea can run free and breathe in the smells of pine and fresh bread and Grammy's handmade candles. But as the Foxes return to suburban Virginia, looking forward to some alone time together, they have no idea they're about to cross paths with the ticking time bomb. Back in Kentucky, Thea and Lucy, that's Grammy, both awaken from the same nightmare, and though the two have never discussed the special kind of sight they share, they know as soon as their tearful eyes meet that something terrible has happened. And turns out, Thea has seen the whole thing. thing that happened to her parents. The kids will be staying with Grammy in Redbud Hollow now, and thanks to Thea's vision, their parents' killer will spend his life in a supermax prison. Lucy intends to provide them with all the love and comfort they need. Over time, Thea will make friends, build a career, and find love. But that ability to see into minds and souls still lurks within her. It can be a gift that helps police solve and prevent other murders, but it can also feel like a curse, especially when the inmate who shattered her childhood has the same ability. Thea can hear his twisted thoughts and witness his evil acts from miles away. He knows it and hungers for vengeance. A long, silent battle will be waged between them and eventually bring them face to face and head to head. Not how I thought they would meet face to face and head to head, but it was really kind of brilliant. I loved, this is a book that, like, Nora Roberts is always a comfort read for me. It's the way she builds families and food and environment. And speaking of environment, shout out to Fayetteville in this book, because when the killer's trying to escape, accident on 95 held him up some, but still nearly made it to Fayetteville. So I appreciated that. I loved Grammy, Lucy. She was a fireball. I loved all of the characters, and it just really not hit home for me. It really just made me comfortable. I actually put this book down a few times towards the end because I didn't want it to end. I wanted to stay in that world. World building, character building, Nora Roberts' strong suits, and this, just hit every right note for me. That is all for me on Thoughts on Books today. I'll be back tomorrow, probably, with my weekend books, which usually post on Mondays, but this Monday was Memorial Day, so I did something a little bit different. That's it for me. Happy reading!